SWAT 4 is one of the best shooters you could play, but still massively disappointing if compared to the third one. Looking at these quick edits, you're probably thinking, what's wrong with this? SWAT 4 is one of those games that you have to play for a while before realizing the issues. Before we get into any of that, let's talk about the history of SWAT 4. Officially, it was developed by Irrational Games and published by Vivendi Games. Sierra's name's plastered all over it, as they were the original creators of the series, but Vivendi is their parent company. Sierra went defunct in 2004, SWAT 4 came out in 2005. The brand name Sierra was just used as a publishing label. I can tell you firsthand that I gush every time I see Sierra's name, so it was definitely a genius marketing ploy. We could spend all video talking about Sierra's history, but the important thing to know is that when you see the glorious snowy mountain during the splash screens, know that it's just a ghost. Kind of like hologram Tupac. SWAT 4 released and got amazing reviews. At the time though, I never really got to play it. I was still engrossed by SWAT 3, and I kept thinking to myself, why even upgrade if I like this one as is? Hence one of the reasons why I stuck with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for so long. When I got to college and started playing classic PC games, I realized how hard it was to get SWAT 4. Vivendi Games went defunct in 2008 after a deal with Activision. Activision became Activision Blizzard, and Vivendi Games was completely dissolved. There was a limbo period where Sierra's games were impossible to find digitally. Well, legally anyway. You had to get the CD-ROMs. However, Activision Blizzard resurrected Sierra and the classics were re-released. They also rebooted King's Quest. I got the CD-ROM with the complete box, as well as the GOG version of SWAT 4, and I finally got to play it. When I saw that Irrational Games was the developer, I instantly got excited. Before SWAT, they were responsible for System Shock 2 and the Freedom Force series. After SWAT 4, they made BioShock and BioShock Infinite, an incredible rap sheet of video games. They went defunct in 2017, but you know what? This history lesson is getting way out of hand. Time to talk about the game. Right out of the gate, you could probably see the improvements made over the third one. For one, you see the gun model. These graphics are pretty awesome as well. You get this sort of neo-noir thing going on. Each map reminds me of the movie Seven. Speaking of maps, you can tell these guys would go on to create BioShock. Look at this.
No visible threats.
Fields.
Trailers, let's go.
Clear.
Room clear.
It's clear.
Incredibly spooky. SWAT 4's famous mission is the Fairfax residence. In this mission, you investigate a potential serial killer. His house is creepy, full of cameras, and his basement is, well...
Get through there. Go.
Let's go.
No visible threats.
Ready for trailers.
TOC, this is entry team.
Clear.
We found an unidentified female victim in need of medical assistance.
Need you to move.
Roger. Notifying EMTs. Keep us informed.
Clear.
TOC, this is entry team. Injured civilian ready for evac.
Even with the music off, Irrational added a very insidious sounding ambiance. Every map got this kind of treatment. I mean, look at the hospital. Sometimes I jokingly refer to SWAT 4 as a horror game. This change in atmosphere is seen by some an improvement, but for me it's the first issue I have. Notice how I'm bringing this up before gameplay. It's because right when you get to the main menu, you can already sense a difference. We aren't in a law enforcement simulator anymore, Toto. I yearn for a newer law enforcement sim, and this game took the Call of Duty approach with its appealing to the masses aesthetic. The added horror element made me feel like I was playing Condemned or something else. It is a beautiful game design, which is why I can't bring myself to call it a flaw, but coming from 3, I can't help but be filled with some form of disappointment. 3 felt real, like we were riding along with some SWAT team members, like those really, dry documentaries on PBS. This new graphical design sensationalized the experience further. Calling it Call of Duty was a bit harsh. The gameplay is actually pretty amazing. The breaching charge is the most intense, blood-pumping thing to do. Like the previous games, you can stack your team up, try the door, then breach, bang, and clear. Some new equipment is added, especially with the expansion, the Stechkov Syndicate. Speaking of the expansion, Melee wasn't added till its release, which is weird, but whatever. The next big issue is the equipment. It's the fact that you don't need half of it. The choice is nice, and I always welcome a nice, expansive inventory selection, but this game has what I like to call the Rainbow Six 3 gold disease. all this equipment, and you end up using two things. In this game in particular, flashbangs and breaching charges is all you really need to win. I will say the addition of pepper spray and tasers are a warm welcome for people who want to go a non-lethal route. If someone won't put their hands up, spraying them with OC spray will make them yield, and tasing them will make them drop their weapons. With the expansion, you can also melee them. Well, non-lethal is also in theory. The AI is bad. Real bad. They are super trigger happy. You might think, well, hey, who wants to go non-lethal anyway? But at the end of every mission, you end with a score. In 3, if you completed the objectives, you moved on. In 4, however, you have to meet a specific score limit. Killing suspects lower said score. I've seen the AI straight up blast suspects who are in the process of surrendering. I mean, I guess this is more realistic, right? Insert cops suck joke here. But seriously, this gets really frustrating if aiming for that perfect 100. Also, the AI in 3 would carry out objectives without having been told to do everything. In 4, they don't confiscate weapons or cuff people unless you tell them to. Due to the number of suspects and hostages, this gets real tedious real quick. Also, they decided to keep collision, which sucks. Most of the hallways are tight, and trying to get past your guys impedes progress. Here I am talking about realism, and I'm complaining about not being able to phase through my teammates, but sometimes the collision breaks the immersion. It's not like they're putting their backs up against the wall so you can get by. They just kind of stand there like, well, you know, you didn't tell me to move, so I'm just going to be a brick. Usually I just lone wolf the missions. Makes life easier, which defeats the whole purpose. Alright, so you ready for the real nitpicky complaint? Doors always open away from you. Why does this matter? It just does. It removes a problem that is actually pretty relevant in real-life tactics. This door debacle is a clue to how much attention to detail Irrational didn't pay. SWAT 3's animations were produced by motion capturing a real SWAT officer. I don't think 4 was, but finding development details on the game has been really hard. But what I can say is that I doubt it, or else the same amount of work didn't go into producing a real-life SWAT experience. In 3, the officers entered the room in a slicing the pie maneuver style. They also automatically secured pathways and unsecured doorways. They would go up to a wall, lean around, and make sure all the flanks were covered. In SWAT 4, they stand around like, "What do now, sir?" Flanks are always exposed, and I never feel like my team has my back. Only when they stack up against the door do they stand in a true tactical pose. Another super tiny detail is that in SWAT 3, the AI will drop a light stick when the room is cleared. This indicates the room is secure and can be ignored. Not done in 4. Well, I crapped all over this game enough, and I didn't even get to the lack of officers and how you can't change your portrait, so it's time to mention the good stuff. If I'm not feeling a super sim experience, SWAT 4 is a great medium between tactical realism and fun. It's kind of like playing Rainbow Six 3 versus Rainbow Six Vegas 2. If you want a good tactical experience and a really hard time trying to secure the area and you're going to die a lot, then SWAT 3 or Rainbow Six 3. But if you want more of an intense, action-based, more user-friendly experience, Vegas 2 or SWAT 4. The command wheel as opposed to the number key speeds up the gameplay, and just the gunplay is just great. It's a phenomenal experience when treated like an action game, when treated like a movie almost. The voice acting for me is a super plus. The team members will always make comments now and again about the environment they're in, and I feel like it's just a little bit more real. You know, some people in real life are going to make comments when they're on a mission. The briefings are still cool. It's no 10 David, but it's still amazing.
Central BCC to Adam Boy, Truck 1 on TAC 2.
U1, go ahead.
U1, SWAT is needed for arrest warrant service, armed homicide suspect. Detective 247 Adam requests you respond to 1572 Norman Street, Food Wall Restaurant. Primary suspect is wanted in multiple homicides and has organized crime connections. A secondary subject suspected of felony modification of firearms is also likely to be armed. Use caution.
U1, roger. Okay, guys, listen up. OCID has spent a lot of time setting this one up, and they've asked for our help serving the arrest warrant. For the last 2 weeks, the Food Wall restaurant has been under close surveillance. We believe the owner, one Leanne Niu, an experienced gunsmith, deals in the illegal modification of firearms. In this case,
even though the equipment screen stops the briefing, but yeah, okay, I'm still being nitpicky, but it's just, there's so much they cut from SWAT 3 that I hate that they did. A plus to all of us modern machine users is that SWAT 4 gives little to no issues. Some maps experience a frame drop, but that's due to programming mess-ups, not the OS. The multiplayer is also a lot better. There's no bot support, but the game modes are amazing. There's also a built-in mission maker, making the game last a little bit longer on top of its procedural generated missions. This game has a high replay value, not because of the custom mission maker and the multiplayer, but because the missions are procedurally generated. This game with the expansion is also super long. The missions all vary too. It isn't the same type of thing over and over again. It's pretty great because it has you guessing what comes next. In terms of FPSs, SWAT 4 is in a genre of its own, and it's great. If you don't care as much about simulation as I do, you'll love it. A phenomenal game that is pretty overshadowed by the million other gems that released in 2005. I'm not going to give it a score because I haven't been happy with my scoring system yet, so I'm just going to take the cheap way out, the Steam way, and give you a blue thumbs up. Score systems may be introduced in the future, but for now, pick up SWAT 4 and you'll have a lot of fun times arresting or killing some criminals and saving lives. It's definitely a nice change of pace from being the criminal all the time and being on the side of law enforcement. I'm Elijah Moon Blackwell, founder of CD-ROM Fossil, and I hope you enjoy my brand new mic. I'm still experimenting with it a little bit. You might hear some mess ups or some, high gains in this video, but the point is, I got me a more professional mic. The video should sound a lot better, and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you check out our website, cd-romfossil.com, as we got our own domain now, so none of that WordPress stuff in the title. And I hope all of y'all enjoyed watching. Now I'm going to go play some SWAT.